then never the mind, and I'll just put up my goofy old little sign. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I see everybody there, and hi. It's a Halloween month, and it's the first Sunday of the month like every other Sunday. Hey, sorry, Poetic License. Welcome to this month's edition of Poetic License. Everybody is triple plus cool and awesome for being there. I don't know if I have to, I don't think I have to leave early. I'm going to a concert after this, so, which is why I've got my cassette deck on my shirt, I guess. But anywho, I hope everyone is doing really well. I'll go with round robins of poetry as they come in. Thank you to newbies here and regulars as well, and everybody around the world. You're all just double plus awesome. That's all I can keep saying. But as I usually start with round robin poetry, and for those who are new, I will say the next poet up and then the poet that follows them so that you have a clue that you're coming up pretty soon kind of thing. They always called it the Poet on Deck in Chicago, and they did that in the Poetry Slam. But anyway, my Zoom host will follow me, but I will start with poems at the beginning, as I usually always read from cc&d magazine as the first one. So I'm going to read a couple of pieces from Animal Wink, which is the October 2022 issue, volume 326. And this guy in the front cover, this lion seal has his eyes open, but if you go to the back cover, the sea lion has his eyes closed. So it's a little Animal Wink. Anyway, I know, just trying to put cool images in here for you. And I thought I would put in here two women-themed poems that also appear in the, I believe, John F. McMillan has the Shattering the Glass Ceiling book, so I'm putting them in at the same time, so I'm double plus advertising books. This is from Cyberwit. This is not from Scars Publications, but I just love showing it off while I can. The first poem that I'd like to share with you that is in both of these books is titled Content with Inferior Men. There are some theorists that say that women need to be able to look up to a man in order to feel complete. These theorists would say that a woman could not become present, at least not on a personal level. I mean, think of it. Here's a woman, the most important person on earth, and she would never know of anyone who had more power than her. How could she look up to any man? How could she admire any man? How could she respect any man? And you know, I can kind of see the point. How can you love someone you don't respect? I mean, I want someone in my life that can teach me something, that can help me grow. And if I was the most important person on earth, I'd probably think no one could teach me anything. But the only thing I could think of in response to this theory is, why don't men who are presidents of the United States of America find themselves unhappy with their boring, unequal, supportive wives? Why is it that men are content with inferior women, but women aren't content with inferior men? That is a piece that is in the, and I have it in both books with a translation, but I'm going to show it to you in this book because it happens to be larger. It also exists in Farsi. I got an Iranian friend of mine to translate some of these poems, so of course you can't see it, but you can be able to find it online or buy the book from Cyberwit if you're interested. And so I just wanted to share that with you. That was the first one. The next one doesn't have a translation, and it is in both Animal Wink and Shattering the Glass Ceiling. Pick them up, both books. And it is called Confident Women. I met up with an old friend of mine for drinks last week. I knew her in high school, although we weren't close friends then. In those days, she needed therapy, had problems with drugs, I think, or else it was just family problems. I was a bit insecure myself, and shy, meek, scared of life. Since those days, we matured. We're now more independent, self-confident, self-assured women. It was good to see her again. She had just come back from camping in Australia. Although physically I had gone nowhere, we both had our stories to tell over a bottle or two of wine. And we gossiped. She told me of a handsome Australian man she fell for. I told her of the roller coaster I call my romantic life. And we laughed. And then the gossip changed. Her voice lowered, and sounding stern but quiet, she told me of how a man broke into her apartment one night last summer, and he tried to rape her. And after kicking and screaming in her underwear, she managed to break free, and her attacker escaped. She told me they found the man, and the trial is scheduled for later in the month. And she sat there, with her wine glass in her hand, looking so confident, as if she knew she had won this battle. Trying not to sound corny, I told her I could give her a hug, and she leaned on my shoulder and she cried, hiccuping as she tried to catch her breath. They would make her recount everything on the stand, she said, and the defense lawyers would try to make her sound promiscuous because she slept alone in her underwear. I told her that I would go with her to the trial. I told her that she's winning by speaking out. Self-assured women, confident women. How confident are we supposed to be? Another one of the things from in both cc&d and Shattering the Glass Ceiling. Ta-da!
Did you win? Did you win?
I believe so, but yeah, the story was about her telling me the thing from that day. Yeah, they believe they caught the guy, which was all wonderful on a stick. But because I try to minimize doing this, there is one thing in the back of this, because it follows a piece of prose, that is a Twitter-linked periodic table poem. So they're really, really short. They also are in the Twitterverse periodic table poetry book. Ta-da. Oh, I should show them both off. They're in both of these books. Ta-da. And this one is for selenium, and it's called Selenium Mixing. Good for some organisms. I can still do humans in. Mix me up all in their schmear with added garlic to hide the taste. Mix me in their shampoo, toothpaste, mouthwash, perfume, aftershave. Mix this Greek goddess of the moon in, and they won't even know they reached eternal night. People have done that and used it for poison, so I thought that was a cool way to pull that one off. And before I go on to the first poet, who will, of course, as always, be John F. McMillan. Thank you, Mr. Wonderful Zoom host. I'm going to share with you one. I love sharing these poems that are going to be in the next Cyberwit book that is called Testament. Testament, this is the tentative cover, but we'll see. Because the first section is all about post-Roe v. Wade poetry about women's rights. So I try to find recent ones for you guys, and this first one is called Kerning, Ballots, and Women's Rights. Graphic artists, with typesetting as one of our begrudgingly used tools, don't expect to hear their jargon during women's rights court battles. But it's beginning to look a lot like Republicans will use any measure to stop women and all the people from fighting for their stolen rights. Here's the scoop. Approaching 750,000 people signed an abortion rights petition for a vote. But word spacing, a term that we graphic artists and typographers call kerning, is now the sticking point Republicans claim is the reason their critical issue can't be on the ballot. Really? Word spacing. That's the reason you anti-abortion, anti-women's rights Republicans use? There isn't enough liquor to drink that would make me believe this is your true excuse. It's beginning to sound a lot like desperation on your part to stop your unfair edicts from being questioned by rationality. For it's beginning to feel a lot like tyranny, where a select few make what they call laws to restrict the world, and we're supposed to just take it with no questions asked. Are we a dictatorship? Are we a self-perpetuating autocracy in which the working classes have no say? Well, the state of Michigan may try shrugging off the will of the people, but battles pushed this to court. Emergency complaints were filed with the state Supreme Court. If type was unreasonable, then why did so many read and sign the petition? Courts believed, on the exact day I scribed these words, that yes, the words were there, and they should be read by all who have the right to vote. It's beginning to sound a lot like more of the same from people who don't have the evidence to support their arguments. So they sing a song of a side story so that they can avoid talking about the real issues. Listen, we've been talking about it all along. You just haven't listened. Okay. There's your thank you for the clappers I see there. Thank you guys. You guys are triple plus awesome. I've just seen an addition to the list from Lorna. Hello, my darling. And as I said, the next poet up is John F. McMillan, Zoom host. Thank you so much for this wonderful Zoomography that you do. And David from Singapore will be following. So, John, are you ready to read? I'm guessing 3 pieces, and we'll do 2 rounds like that, if that sounds cool with you. If you're ready, my darling, take it away.